How to make bread from scratch. Let's unfold the full journey of bread, starting not in the kitchen, but in the open fields where its life truly begins, tracing every step until the loaf rests warm on your table. It begins with a seed, a kernel of wheat, small enough to balance on the tip of your finger. A farmer steps into tilled earth, pressing it into the soil. In that moment, nothing seems to happen, but as Genesis says, "While the earth remains, seed time and harvest shall not cease." Under the surface, roots take hold, and green shoots push toward the light. Days pass. The sun coaxes the stalks upward, rain feeds them, wind toughens them. Fields turn from tender green to golden waves, each head of grain heavy with promise. When the wheat is ripe, the farmer harvests, once by sickle and bundle, now by roaring machines. But the task is the same. Grain is separated from stalk, then threshed to loosen the kernels. In winnowing, chaff and dust are carried away by the wind, leaving only the good grain. Pure wheat is stored, the treasure born of months of quiet labour. Milling transforms the grain. Millstones or steel rollers crush and shear the kernels, releasing a fine, pale flour that carries the smell of the harvest. This flour is the canvas on which the bread will be painted. In a humble kitchen, it is measured into a bowl. Salt joins for balance, water for life. Then yeast, a living spark, enter without it. The dough would remain dense and lifeless. With it, the bread will breathe. The mixture is rough at first, sticky and resistant. Kneading begins. Push, fold, turn. Your hands stretch and strengthen the dough, waking the gluten strands until they weave a net to hold the yeast's tiny gifts of gas. It is work, but also communion with centuries of bakers who have known this same rhythm. Once kneaded, the dough rests beneath a cloth. Yeast begins its silent labour, feeding on the flour's sugars and filling the dough with invisible bubbles. This is the unseen miracle, the parable in Matthew 13:33 brought to life. The kingdom of heaven is like yeast. It worked all through the dough. Slowly, it doubles in size, as if it has drawn in breath. You press the risen dough gently, shaping it into the form you choose. A round, a baton, a braid. And let it rise again. Patience rules this stage. Skipping it robs the bread of its depth and texture. The oven preheats, fierce and bright, the refining fire into which the dough will go. Baking transforms everything. In the heat, the loaf springs upward, the crust turns golden brown, and the air swells with fragrance. Rich, warm, unmistakable. It is the scent of homecoming, of provision, of prayers answered. Here, body and spirit meet. For as Deuteronomy 8:3 says, "Man does not live on bread alone, but on every word that comes from the mouth of the Lord." Still, the bread is part of that provision, a reminder that God's gifts often come through the work of our hands. When the loaf emerges, it crackles as it cools, the crust whispering as steam escapes. At last, you break it open. Inside is a tender crumb, still holding the warmth of the oven, the taste carrying the memory of soil, sun, and rain. This is not just food, it is the final chapter of a story that began months ago in a furrowed field. From seed to sheaf, from grain to flour, from dough to bread, it is a journey of transformation, a living parable, reminding us that what begins hidden can end in abundance meant to be shared. And tomorrow, the cycle can begin again. Seeds in the ground, hope in the heart, and faith that in its season there will be bread.